from Chicago and the Philippines. A comprehensive review of the week's special community events, featuring many exciting personalities, handled by the most professional Chicago Philippine Reports TV staff.
Good afternoon and welcome to Chicago Philippine Reports TV, still the #1 in all the Filipino shows in the Midwest. And I'm Joe Mauricio. Today we have all the top stories from Chicago and the Philippines. We also have our segment host, Veronica, interesting interviews with Melody Rabor Dizon, our Health Matters host, and Joe Mauricio, myself. And I would like to introduce to you Janette Jordee, our new host from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, introducing her Global Inspirations interviews. We also have happening within our own Filipino community here in Chicago. All these are coming up and more from our sponsors. Please stay with us.
Hi, I'm Maria Pappas, Cook County Treasurer. Property taxes are due March 2nd, but there's no late fee through May 3rd. Go to cookcountytreasurer.com, put in your street address to pay online, search for $76 million in double payments and $46 million in missing exemptions. See if your property is on the tax sale delinquency list. Put in your address at cookcountytreasurer.com.
39 of the 59 samples from Central Visayas that underwent whole genome sequencing have been found to have two types of mutation, E484K and N501Y. Experts have previously said that it is natural for viruses to mutate, but these two mutations are closely being looked at.
N501Y, that was first flagged by the UK variant, na-associate nga nila yung may mga cases sa UK na talagang tumaas. Na-classify nga siya in the beginning as a variant of interest, maya-maya naging variant of concern na siya. Lumabas din po yung researchers sa South Africa na mayroon po silang variant doon na not only does it have the 501Y that was first reported by the UK researchers, meron din po siyang 484K.
Just how does a mutation occur in a virus? It all starts once it has entered the human cell.
For that virus to survive and cause infection, nagmumultiply siya. Ang virus consists of proteins. Proteins consist of amino acids. Tapos yun yung kinokopya ng virus, yung sequence ng amino acids. Pag ang mutation napalitan yung buong amino acid na iba at nagkaroon ng epekto sa characteristic ng virus, yun yung nagiging mutation of clinical significance.
Compare a virus to a complete sentence. If a word is misspelled or another word is added, it is possible that the new mistake may have very little or no impact on the meaning of the sentence, but it can also change the entire thought, depending on the mistake. This is why the entire virus, as well as the combination of mutations, have to be carefully studied in order to determine its implications on health.
These mutations, in isolation, we don't know what they mean. Whether itong nakikita natin ngayon is maybe a new variant or not a new variant, kailangan pa pong pag-aralan. Pero itong mga mutations na to, kumbaga, parang markers po sila. Doesn't mean the mutation itself can make something more transmissible or make something more deadly or wala na talaga yun sa vaccine.
For the Philippine Genome Center, it remains unclear whether the mutations in the virus can be considered a Philippine variant.
Whether we have an emerging Philippine variant or not, that remains to be seen. Kaya po natin, so that is always a possibility in different countries around the world.
To increase the number of doses from COVID-19 vaccines, the Department of Health is now looking for so-called low dead space syringes. The Philippine General Hospital has said it is hard to find supplies due to the high demand globally.
All set na po except for the low dead space syringe. Yun lang pong hindi namin mahanap. Kahit saan po kami maghanap na supplier, wala po.
Low dead space syringes are in high demand since they minimize waste and allow 6 instead of 5 doses to be extracted from a vaccine vial. The health department said those available in the market are priced too high.
Naghahanap po tayo ng supplier. Actually, there was this one supplier. Pero yung ating nilagay na presyo ay sobrang taas naman po yun sa supplier. Kaya hindi po aabot yung budget natin for that.
But the health official said it should not be a problem for the first batch of vaccines from the COVAX facility, which aims for equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines.
Ito naman pong pagdating ng Pfizer vaccines na ito, tayo po ay nakakasigurado kasi it is packaged with this dead space syringe. Pero tayo pa rin po ay patuloy na nagpo-procure at naghahanap ng suppliers who can provide us with this type of syringe.
The government is currently preparing for the vaccination of priority sectors, composed of more than 180,000 health workers, 164,000 uniformed personnel, 1.4 million senior citizens, and 3 million indigents.
Sa ngayon po, tinataya po natin based on the number of eligible individuals, based from each sector na tinitignan natin, nakikita natin mangangailangan po tayo ng roughly around 50,000 vaccinators para po dito sa ating isasagawang deployment program for the priority population.
The department said they have trained 4,000 vaccinators who will be responsible for training other health workers.
ViaTimes, vital news, vibrant views for the Filipino Asian communities in Chicago. ViaTimes for your most interesting and exciting reading and your party coverages. ViaTime has very interesting columnists. You name it, ViaTimes has it. Law, Filipino news, dentistry, immigration, humor, serious opinions, health, beauty, mysticism, Bata Corner, showbiz, and intelligently written editorials. Call ViaTimes at 773-866-0811.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat and welcome to Veronica's segment of the show. Today, I have a very special lady, a very familiar face. And she's back here with us again to make a very important announcement to our community. And her name is Honorable Maria Pappas, Cook County Treasurer. No need further introduction because everybody knows Maria Pappas in our community. Welcome to our show, Maria.
So nice to see you, Veronica, even if it's on television. I want to see you and hug you and kiss you.
Yeah, one of these days when everybody is free from the lockdown.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me give you some good news. You can get to cookcountytreasure.com and pay your taxes, but even though you got a bill saying that they're due March 1st, you can pay without penalty May 1st. You can pay without penalty going into May. So you've got 2 extra months because of this COVID situation. Additionally, if you get to cookcountytreasure.com and you put in your address, we've had 1 million people come a month to that site. You can see if you're one of the people, if you owned the property at the time, going back 20 years, if you're owed $79 million in double payments, or if you're entitled to a homeowner's exemption, a senior exemption, and a senior freeze exemption. And in that, you can go back 4 years, and there's another $48 million there. So I want to thank you for all your support. You don't have to pay on March 1st. And I'm looking forward to talking to you again soon because we're doing some work on translations of our new brochures. And when we do, I'm going to come back on and make a big announcement about that.
That's the greatest news. Wow. And
you can translate our website into Tagalog. Our website is translatable into your language.
Into our language.
Yes. Yeah, right now. You can go to cookcountytreasure.com, go to the bottom, and you can Google Translate the whole thing into Tagalog, which is very complicated to understand property taxes. So we're giving it to you in your language. And soon we're going to have this brochure that explains the whole office in the language as well.
Okay. We'll be showing a clip of that brochure. And that is really the greatest news so far this week that we've heard. And for the many property owners out there, what more do you want? from
good news. If we need some good news, and I wear my shiny jackets, I could be happy.
You always look good. I see your posts on Facebook, and you're amazing. How you could look the same through all these years. What's your secret? And
All right. God bless you, Veronica. Thank you so much.
thank
Give
you.
my best to Elsie and the rest of your staff. Huh?
Thank you. Yes, thank you. And thank you so much for gracing our show today, Maria.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Objective Viewers portion of the show. And I'm Joe Mauricio. This afternoon, I have one very beautiful guest, and you probably can guess who this guy is. Well, she is Melody Dizon, your regular Health Matters host for the show. Welcome to our show.
Oh, thank you so much to Tito Joe. I'd love to be I miss going to your video, going to our taping. I miss everybody. Hi, folks. How are you?
The TV viewers miss you a lot for 2 weeks. What happened within the 2 weeks? Can you tell us what happened?
Well, I hibernated. Why did I hibernate? Well, as people already know, for some of you who didn't know, I had contracted the COVID-19 virus, and that was the first week of January. If you ask me where I got that from, I couldn't tell you because almost everything now is inevitable. I go see patients, I go to the clinics, I go out, I come in, I see other people. So my variables are so wide out there that it's easier for me to say, oh, I may have catched it here, got it there. So, but I got it, bottom line.
Yeah, that's hard to pinpoint where you got it, and you cannot accuse anybody as a career. There's a lot of, as a victim of COVID-19, you have immune. I mean, you have immunity to all these things that are going on. Maybe even the flu. Is that a flu or what? We don't hear anything about the flu anymore. It's all COVID-19.
Well, there's many reasons for that, Tito Joe. Number one, not for anything, but I guess when a patient is diagnosed with COVID-19, all out-of-pocket cost gets dropped and insurance covers the whole 100%. And maybe they get a little bit of funding for that. But I don't know really, for each patient situation. But yeah, there are still some flu, but very, very few that I'm hearing, mostly COVID.
Before COVID-19, the CDC has statistics on the yearly death from flu virus. 22,000 people died. While all of a sudden now, with this COVID-19, no one dies of flu, but everybody dies of COVID-19. Why is that?
I know. No, there's still the flu. I do have some patients that get hospitalized. They're negative with COVID, but they have all the flu-like symptoms. But you don't see it as flu. You don't see it as the diagnosed as flu. They say something else like pneumonia, bronchitis, asthma exacerbation, heart failure, blah blah blah. That can mimic a lot with the COVID-19 virus.
Yeah, as a survivor, what can you advise our viewers? What can they do to prevent from? Well, it's pretty hard to.
Yeah.
There's too much unknown going on with this thing.
Right. Well, number one, it is real, you guys. It is so real. I know there are still a few that thinks it isn't, but it is real. Okay. It's not like the regular flu at all. It can vary from person to person, but with me, it was different. I don't have any pre-existing conditions, although I do have a little bit of hypertension, but I'm okay with that. Nothing asthma or anything for that matter. But for me, how I got mine is through pneumonia. I mean, coughing and colds and all that stuff, that it was relentless. It won't stop. I lost my taste. I lost my sense of smell. I was very tired and I couldn't walk far without having to catch my breath. I couldn't even talk without having to catch my breath. That was scary.
Yeah, really. In a Dizon family where you guys are, the
coronavirus, the COVID-19 is afraid to a guy named Dizon.
Yeah, it did touch him.
He has a repellent, like a repellent to COVID-19, you know.
I know.
COVID-19 is afraid to contaminate him. I don't know why.
Exactly. I said hello.
But how's he doing anyway?
Oh, he's fine. He only had muscle. It's so unfair. He only had muscle aches and then maybe chills just one day. That's all. And he said, "Oh, this is weird." And I go, "Why?" "I don't know. I just feel something weird." He goes, "I'm going to have myself checked." So that's when he went maybe 2 days after his symptoms started, which is just muscle aches, nothing really. So then when he showed positive, then all my kids had themselves tested. And then me was a few days later. And so, yeah, everybody got it in the house.
Everybody? And what are the symptoms that distinguish COVID-19 from a flu?
You know what they say? It's the loss of sense and of smell and loss of sense of taste. Because I think they said the virus kind of attacks the nerve that's responsible for that. And they probably stay there and it's inflamed, it's swollen. So that is a very classic sign, symptom and for that kind of the virus is the loss of taste and smell. Fatigue, sometimes you get it with the regular flu. You know, you may have fever, yes or no. Almost everything is the same. The only difference is that loss of sense of taste and smell. And then the cough. The cough is dry and it just incessant. It doesn't stop. It just continues on. And that was hard for me. That's how, from all my reads and from I'm asking the patients, that's a very common difference between the two.
Oh, well, the kids are all okay though.
Oh yeah, they're fine. The same with him. They're all repellent.
They have they have the Dizon gene in there. The Dizon DNA is a repellent to COVID-19. Remember that? Yeah, that's, you know, as a victim of this COVID-19, the vaccine was here in a warp speed, and you know, in the medical profession to develop a vaccine, it takes a while. You cannot rush science. You know, you cannot just, we will have a vaccine. They have a concept, which I agree with the concept, but so what can you tell about the vaccine?
About the warp speed of the vaccine. Well, number one, yes, it is true. You cannot buy time, right? A time is time for everybody. We all have 24 hours. But at the same time, too, there are a lot more technology that we have right now in use that can hasten the process, that can make things a little bit faster and quicker. So they have a disclaimer, you know, they say it's 97, 96%. Yes, you can say that, but people still get it from what, no, though I haven't, okay, no, I know one doctor who received the vaccine a week ago and then contracted the virus few days later. So it's because the immunization didn't really take in full effect yet. She did have partial maybe immunity, but she was positive after the vaccine a week later. But her symptoms are very mild. So,
Melody, do you consider yourself safe with other people without masks around you?
No, I freak out. Even though I said, "Oh my God, finally!" Not that I'm happy that I had COVID, but it's like I'm letting my walls down because I have it. I have immunity to some degree, but not really. Nothing is going to cover. We don't know anything about the virus. I still cover myself. Everything, the shield, the mask, everything else is, you know, observe all the necessary precautions that I have to. It may sound like, that's why I kind of feel like maybe by summer, hopefully it's not going to be so bad. People will be immunized and, you know, we have lesser infection rate. But yeah, even so, if you've had it, I'd still be leery because we don't know if it mutates again or what have you. No clue.
You know, you had your vaccine injection already, right?
No, because I cannot have, here's the thing, two things. When a person has COVID-19, I have to wait 90 days for the vaccine to be given to me. My infectious disease told me, the pulmonologist told me, as well as my primary. But I've asked doctors around, and I've read from the literatures that I've read, it did say actually, it did not say I couldn't have it. The only reason why they're saying to wait 90 days, because it's scarcity. You know, people who haven't had the COVID versus me who had the COVID, I have already some kind of immunity versus all the others who hadn't had any. So let's give it to them first, and then you get your turn when the next batch comes in. The only time I guess you cannot get the vaccine is if you had COVID and you had the monoclonal antibody plasma infusion, which I didn't have. So if you have that antibody infusion, monoclonal, then they say to wait 90 days. But still, I'm being told that I have to wait 90 days.
Okay, now, when you get a vaccine, how long does it last? How long the immunity really lasts? Do you know?
That is a very good question, because right now everything is all based on the current information they have. From the last read that I did last night, they said with Pfizer, it may show that you will have immunity up to 1 year, even with just one vaccine. Now, that's just what they're seeing now, the trend, okay? But who really knows? Who knows? They say it may be just like the flu, that you'll have the shot immunization every year.
Mm-hmm.
They say you're not allowed to go to work if you didn't have a vaccine, or you can't go to, not yet on the school part, but you know, there are some places, but they can't force nobody. You know, they can't say, well, you got to have this. Well, but then maybe later on, I don't know how it's going to be going forward.
Are you getting a flu shot also with this?
I already had the flu shot in October. I always get it before that.
Well, is it a flu shot also one of those corona things?
Before, yes, it may be corona being it anew, but because, you know, every flu shot is different every season, because based from all their gathering of data. Do you know that we have a different flu vaccine from California versus Chicago? Because they do have, we have different flu that flows around, that comes through. So like the last time, when was that? When you got really sick, Tito Joe? I think that was 2018 or 17?
18.
18, right. The success rate for the flu then was only 30%. So could you imagine? Only 30% it was effective. So that's why you got it. You know what I mean? 70% it didn't. So a lot of people got really infected by it.
The Pfizer or Moderna, how long, I mean, is the immunity last that long? Or you got to have the second shot?
Well, right now I know that people, maybe just to, again, their data is very limited. So what they are suggesting is that people get the second vaccine. I have heard, though, and from people, okay, this is word of mouth that goes around, that the people that had gotten the second vaccine really got them sick. 2 days, just 2 days, really, really tired, either fever, muscle aches, all that kind of mimics the COVID, but then after the third day, they're okay. So other people have opted not to take the second vaccine because they said they'll just kind of see how others react. You know, if others are still alive, I'll take it. If not, well, okay, now
one of that.
Yeah.
You know, there are too many unknowns.
Yes.
Too many unknowns about coronavirus, the COVID-19. Too many unknowns about the vaccine. You know, and it's not live. You know, that the mRNA is nothing but 2 protein.
Correct.
And when they put that into your body, they are hoping that your body, yourself, produces antibodies to fight the incoming infection, right?
Right.
With this vaccine, you know, they predict that they will induce immune system, you know. But again, they predict, you know, they're not 100% sure that it's going to, you know, I'm waiting for 6 more months and see what happens. You know, science, you cannot run science, and you know.
No. Yeah. There's a lot of factors with that, Tito Joe. Pharmaceutical industries, how such a big, there's politics around it. There's so much. So, people, I attended this survey that will you be more likely to receive the vaccine if the people from the community, like your doctors and all that, are telling you, or would you listen more to the politician? I said, wait a minute. You know what I mean? So it really has an effect. It's sad to say, but it is true. It is true.
What I'm afraid of. This is what's the trend is going on in the pharma or research industries. We don't want to use the animals as a guinea pig. Now what they're using is people as the guinea pig. I am not gonna let that thing happen to my body. I only have one life to give, and my God, I'm just gonna protect that as long as I wanted to. I only have one life to give to my country.
Right.
And my God, just because my friends are having these shots and things like that, I got to think. I have some background on what's going on, and I'm not going to tell you what that is. So, but, I'm going to wait 6 months. You cannot rush science. You cannot. I used to do some research, and you cannot rush that. It has to be not the human guinea pig, but animals.
Yeah, something else. Yeah.
You would like to say?
Well, as what Tito Joe said, he's very aware of his body. He knows the existing conditions that he has. He knows what he'll feel or what he thinks if he'll expose himself to the vaccine. So, folks, I think the only thing I could tell you is, number one, you want to examine yourself. Is this really where I want to do? This what I want to have? Are you ready for the whatever side effect they may have? And then number two, if it puts everybody at risk, like for me, I'm working, always out. I'm more thinking of the people I may give it to. So that's why I am more leaning towards getting the vaccine, because there's so many sick people I'm in front with. But if you're sick enough, or sick already as it is, or you have all other comorbidities that you have, you may be lenient with that. And there's nothing bad about it. I mean, really, again, we want science, true science. We want what's proven already, statistics. And we can't go saying later on, oh my God, I shouldn't have, or I should have listened to myself. So that's why I said it is your decision. It is your decision. You know your health. Yes, you can ask your doctor, but everybody's going to tell you, you got to have it. But
as different doctors, they got different opinions. Who do I really listen to? I listen to my body. Okay.
That's right.
And that's what I do. I just reinforce my immune system with the things that I like to do.
Correct. That's right. Your zinc, vitamin C, ascorbic acid, those things. Vitamin D3 is very important to have, a lot of fluids and stuff.
Yeah, zinc, a lot of fluid. Yes. Yes. And rest.
Yeah,
No,
rest.
No more partying for me.
It's so sad, right? I miss everybody. I really do. Oh my God.
Yeah, we are missing a lot of friends, but just like what somebody else says, that's their life. That's your opinion. That's my opinion.
That's right.
I respect that opinion.
That's right. That's all we could do.
Yes. So anything else you would like to say?
So folks, still keep everything, all the 3 W's they said. Number 1, wash your hands, wear your mask, and watch your distance. All 3 W's. You have to use all of those wherever you are, no matter who you're with. Like a family member visits or whatever, you still don't know where they've been. But if this is the family member that you live with day in, day out, it's all right. You know what I mean? But for other people to come to you still, we're not yet out of the zone. We're still in the woods, believe it or not.
Yes. And it's not about the survival rates of a COVID positive thing is 97%.
I know they haven't shown that. I don't know where they get.
CDC. I just read that thing.
I know, but I don't know how they got the percentage. You know what I mean? Like, so who did they check? So were there people? I don't know. I really don't know. it's hard if I don't really see the numbers out there. But one thing though is for sure, our numbers have declined. We're now like in the thousands that are that have contracted, and maybe 40s, 50s that have died. I'm not saying it's good, but it's better than what it was.
That's good. That's good to hear, and I hope it continues to decrease. So again, hey, it's nice talking to you, Melody. It's I'm glad that you're okay, your family's okay, and I hope everybody in America all the world will be okay.
That's right.
Again, this is Joe Mauricio. Thank you for listening and watching Melody Dizon. A good insight for combating COVID-19. Ako po si Joe Mauricio, and I hope to see you again next week. And mabuhay ang Pilipinas!
Most people from a developing country grab the opportunity and the chance, and they do their best as they can to move to United States of America. Our guest did the reverse. She was born and raised in America and moved to the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest this week is an international speaker, a CEO and the founding director of Global Impact, a justice advocate, a minister, and also an empowerment coach. We are so proud to have our special guest for our Valentine episode, Amy Moranco Gehan. This is Janette Jordee at Global Inspiration, where you need to be seen, need to be heard, and be an inspiration to the world. Again, ladies and gentlemen, with pride and joy, welcome our guest this week, Amy Moranco Gehan. Amy, good day.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here with you. Thank you for having me on Global Inspiration.
Thank you very much, Amy. In my introduction, I said that you were born and raised in America. And where is that?
Near Chicago, a city called Rockford, and actually a small town near Rockford. So, but for most people, they know Chicago area and about a couple hours outside of Chicago.
Okay. So you are now in the Philippines. What city are you staying more often in the Philippines?
In Davao City. I'm based in Davao City in southern Philippines, which I believe is where you're from, correct?
Yes, I am from Davao City. Yeah, small world, right? Yay!
Davao City, amazing.
Yeah, it is an amazing city. So how long have you been in the Philippines?
A long time, really, over 20 years ago. I first came to the Philippines. I lived and worked in Iloilo, and at that time, and then eventually started an office in Davao, Manila, and Puerto Princesa. That was actually with a different organization that I was with, and but that's the beginning of my personal time in the Philippines. So a long time, though I haven't lived here the whole time, I've always had ongoing projects and have lived here, off and on during those 20 years.
So when was the last time you had visited United States?
Oh, let's see. Because of quarantine and because of COVID, let me think back. Then it's 20. So I think, I can't remember exactly, but end of 2019.
Okay. Because the last time I was in the Philippines was 2020, February 2020. So this may ask some more details. Question is, why are you in the Philippines?
Yeah, okay, great question. And I love how you introduced me that it's so true that so many people from the Philippines work hard to actually go overseas, or many go overseas and work so that they can send money back to their families here in the Philippines. It's, as you well know, we even have a term for it called OFW, Overseas Filipino Worker, which is official. But yeah, it is the reverse. In fact, I was thinking that as we started the interview, you're from Davao and living in America. I'm from America living in Davao. We've traded spots.
Yeah.
But I originally, I'll give you the shorter version, but it goes all the way back. I'll start all the way back when I kind of grew up a typical American midlife, not midlife, what's the term? Middle class, that's the word I'm looking, like middle class, just kind of regular American girl. And went to a small town school in Illinois. And then I loved math. I was good at math. So I went on to the University of Illinois and actually got a civil engineering degree. And but when I was in university and getting ready to graduate, I just praying and asking God what he had for my life next. And he took me on, I guess, a turn. I mean, it was never a turn for him, but for me, it was like, wow, it went this direction where I really knew he was calling me into ministry. And so I graduated from university, civil engineering degree, and went out to California to do a 2-year Bible training, ministry training course. And that really launched me into my destiny. That's what my heart is for people, for nations, to make an impact, to share the love of God, both in heart, but also in demonstrating it, like actually with action, not just words.
Yeah.
And that just led me on my path of really ministry all of my years. And that's what led me to the Philippines, how many years ago?
Yeah.
And so I have just continued, once I was here and sort of committed and sowed my life into the country, it just kept evolving. And to the point that we established Global Impact, my organization here, and we have a pretty large work that we do in Southern Philippines now to this day here in Philippines. So that's why I'm here, because I love the Filipino people. I feel called to be here and to assist in the development, the advancement of people, of nations, and also, like, another issue that's here is there's human trafficking. So we're also working to help stop human trafficking. So many things. I feel the
so many things. And thank you for the sacrifice of coming from America and going to the Philippines. I have seen a lot of your Facebook photo, and every time there's photos, they're like kids. And I can, by the way you smile, I could tell myself, she is having fun. Can you give me 3 things that you like most about the Philippines? You've been there for 20 years. Can you share that with the viewers?
Okay, that's a great question. So 3 things that I love the most. The first one is there's a real beauty about the Filipino people. Very loving and embracing, though sometimes shy, because even though I've been here how many years, still, because I'm English speaking, they don't want to talk to me. So they'll initially love me. They tell me how beautiful I am, because that's very, they're very, Filipino people are very expressive in that way. But then beyond that, they don't usually want to talk to me more because of the English side. But I love that, where they're so open in that way and so embracing. So that's one thing I love. Another thing I love is the beauty of the country. Now, for those that don't know, Philippines is an island nation, over 7,000 islands. Now, I love water. I love the beach. I love tropical climate. Now, I have to say, not every city is beautiful, because there is, it is a developing country, and still sometimes there's a lot of, things that don't look so nice. But when you get out of the cities and you get into like the jungle and you get into the beach area, to the mountains, it's absolute raw beauty. It's gorgeous. So that's the second thing that I love. And the third is that the Filipino people are actually influential all around the world, right? So people aren't just in the Philippines, but they're here, but they're literally, as I mentioned before, working around the world. So there's a real versatility to Filipino people, an adaptability, a real servant's heart. And you see that because of also being an English speaking nation, as a third language. English is a language. Not everybody speaks necessarily fluently, but at least some English, as again, you well know, I'm speaking more to the viewers. So I love that adaptability and flexibility, and that willingness to go, and to serve and to earn, even for their families, the sacrifice. You see a lot of sacrifice here. People will sacrifice to help their family.
We would like to welcome all of you to Baladna Jewelry. We have a very big selection of 21 karat gold jewelry imported from the Middle East, from Dubai, Saudi, and Bahrain, and we have a very big selection of diamond. We offer free financing for 6 months, and we have a layaway system which you can leave your stuff for 3 months. We repair gold and we buy old gold. Welcome to Baladna Jewelry.
Salamat po.
Good afternoon. This is Brigitte, Carino, Cueter, bringing you this week's local news from our community. Members of the Filipino community expressed their concern and dismay as the online appointment system of the Philippine Consulate General in Los Angeles crashed due to unusually high web traffic over the President's Day weekend. The consulate immediately requested the web hosting service provider to increase the capacity of the server to accommodate the high volume of website visitors. But still, the thousands of hits on the site continues to slow down access. The consulate is responding to emails and phone calls and posting updates on its social media pages to allay the concerns of the community. Initially, Biden pledged to open schools within his first 100 days of office. Now the Biden administration has completely moved the goalposts. The new embarrassingly weak goal is to open just half of schools for only 1 day per week by the end of April. Biden's plan doesn't help working parents. It abandons them. An increasing majority of working parents say providing childcare is a struggle, and that burden has disproportionately fallen on working moms. It's causing what Time referred to as a she-cession. Hundreds of thousands of women have been forced out of the workforce or forced to reduce their hours because schools are not open. This year's worst of the worst includes a college that fired a history professor for teaching history, one that tried to expel a student after she tweeted about Cardi B, and another that censored students for justice in Palestine with one hand and a pro-Second Amendment student with the other. The 10 worst colleges for free speech are, in alphabetical order, Cullen College in McKinney, Texas, Duquesne University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Fordham University in New York City, Frostburg State University in Frostburg, Maryland, Haskell Indian Nations University in Lawrence, Kansas, New York University in New York City, Northwestern University Qatar in Doha, Qatar, St. John's University in New York City, University of Illinois at Chicago in Chicago, Illinois, and University of Tennessee, UT Health Science Center, Memphis, Tennessee. Detailed descriptions of each college's speech-chilling misdeeds are available on FIRE's website. The federal government has notified all states of COVID-19 vaccine delivery delays across the entire country due to adverse weather and road conditions. To help offset delayed vaccine deliveries, the state of Illinois proactively ordered vaccines to be delivered to its strategic national stockpile receipt, store, and stage site in anticipation of adverse weather. Illinois is distributing the vaccine to many providers around the state today and tomorrow, as weather permits, to continue to support vaccination operations. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, and Operation Warp Speed, OWS, are projecting adverse weather impacts to operations at its partner and carrier facilities where vaccines and ancillary supply kits originate. HHS and OWS have advised that many regularly projected deliveries for Tuesday will be significantly impacted by adverse weather occurring across the U.S. These impacts could continue throughout the week and could be affected by additional adverse weather projected later in the week. A new data study found that while most Americans are spending more on groceries than ever before, Illinois spending has decreased. TOP data analyzed spending at grocery stores across Illinois and found that the average annual grocery bill went down by 8% in 2020, with the average person spending $4,464. The study also revealed that the biggest increase in spending has been on spirits, which was 33% higher in 2020 than in 2019. Spending on meat jumped by 16%, with the meat alternatives subcategory seeing a huge 34% spike. The biggest subcategory increase was storage, which saw a huge 605% increase, a side effect of people stocking up on essentials, perhaps. The Philippine Embassy in the United States, in partnership with the Filipino Family Health Initiative, Little Manila Rising, FYL-PRO, and Tayo Help Desk held a webinar entitled The Power of Positive Parenting in Filipino Families, Helping Our Youth Thrive During COVID-19, on February 13, 2021. Even before the pandemic, we have likewise seen incidents of depression and suicide among teenagers, including the Filipino and Filipino American youth here in the United States, said the Philippine ambassador to the United States, Jose Manuel Romualdez, in his video-recorded remarks. The webinar drew from the experiences and insights of 4 Filipino American parents who are part of the Incredible Years, which is a series of interlocking evidence-based programs for parents, children, and teachers supported by over 30 years of research. That's all for today. Thank you for watching the news this week. This is Brigitte. See you next time.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. This is Melody Dizon, your Health Matters host. So today we will be talking about all the buzzword that everybody's talking about, which is, should I get the vaccine or not? That's right. We're going to be talking about the COVID-19 vaccine and who are those people who should get it and who are those people who shouldn't get it. So question is it really safe for everyone? That's what they're saying. Is COVID-19 safe for everyone? Both vaccines have been issued as emergency use authorizations by the FDA, but some groups still have questions about their vaccine safety. The US officially has 2 vaccines that we know of that is approved, and that is the Pfizer's vaccine and the Moderna vaccine. Pfizer vaccine was approved for use in people as young as 16, while Moderna approved the vaccine for those ages 18 and up. So for right now, both vaccines are mainly administered to those in the CDC and prevention first round priority group, which includes healthcare workers and those who work and reside in long-term health facilities. It is monumental, however, the accomplishment that the science has made, having not 1, but 2 vaccines go through the vaccine development and approval process in less than a year in order to fight COVID-19 pandemic. But while many have widely praised the vaccines and the scientists behind them for their rigorous testing through vaccine trials, some still have questions about vaccine safety in specific groups. So here's what you need to know. So how do we know if truly the vaccine that we're getting is safe? So should I give it to myself or what? So first and foremost, the CDC maintains that the US has a vaccine safety system that ensures all vaccines are as safe as possible. It is why the FDA was able to grant authorizations for both Pfizer and Moderna for the vaccines after data from manufacturers and large clinical trials demonstrated that the potential benefits of the vaccines outweighed the known and potential harms of coming down with COVID-19. So, but when it comes to like safety testing and vaccine clinical trials, let's say determining whether the vaccine is safe to use, those participating in the trials versus whether or not it is effective, researchers track vaccine participants' health throughout the trial. Anyone, anytime gets sick, they get hospitalized or even die, experts investigate whether it had any possible ties to the vaccine. So trials like the ones for the Pfizer and Moderna, COVID-19 vaccines also have independent monitoring boards made up of people who have no ties to the studies at all. Their only job is to make sure that the drug is safe. It is also important to note that safe doesn't mean 0 side effects. A vaccine is considered safe when it doesn't cause serious adverse events. An unsafe vaccine is one that causes permanent or serious harm, things that change the course of a person's life. Those things that can include changing fertility, causing neurological problems, or causing new infections. So regarding the mild effects that can accompany the coronavirus vaccine, there's fatigue, headaches, arm pain, and they're a small price to pay to potentially avoid COVID-19's more serious symptoms and risks, and therefore don't worry the doctors. Further, it is also possible that the mRNA vaccines could even be safer than the traditional vaccines because they do not contain the common allergens like eggs or metals, which may open them up to even more people who have had to forgo vaccination in the past. So, who has the vaccine been approved for and which groups still need more information? Well, according to Pfizer's data, specifically the vaccine was approved for emergency use after it was deemed consistently effective across age, gender, and race, and ethnicity demographics for those ages 16 and above. Similarly, data from Moderna, as we said earlier, showed that the vaccine was also effective in diverse people of 18 and over. About 37% of participants were from racial or ethnic minorities per the National Institute of Health. But those demographics are very broad, as you can say, and the clinical trials for both vaccines excluded a number of specific groups, including pregnant or breastfeeding people and children. Those that not necessarily an uncommon practice, but people and pregnant people and children are considered vulnerable populations. You do have to have pretty good proof that something works before you're even allowed to do trials or new drugs with them. But evidence of the safety of the vaccine is stronger now, and the trials are beginning, if they haven't already. I know it has. And so there are going to be further trials of the kids. So stay tuned for that. And even though pregnant and breastfeeding people weren't specifically recruited to participate in clinical trials, it doesn't mean that they were entirely absent from them. Generally, vaccines are not intentionally tested in pregnant people, and that data usually is accumulated over time as pregnant people get vaccinated accidentally or they choose to get vaccinated. The American College of Obstetrician quickly supported the idea that both breastfeeding and pregnant people should have the choice to get the vaccine once it would otherwise become available to them. Another population group that vaccines weren't specifically tested on were on the immunocompromised people. That's right, those are immunosuppressants, immunosuppressed. But that is due to concern about efficiently testing the vaccine rather than concern about their safety. You worry that they're not able to mount as good of an immune response, so testing the vaccine in them is going to show less effect of the vaccine than you would expect. However, some immune-compromised groups were included, with Pfizer having 120 people with HIV and Moderna having 176 people with HIV. So people with a history of severe allergic reactions, however, while previously included in clinical trials, are being used or are being urged, I should say, to use caution if and when they get the vaccine. According to the CDC, those who have had severe allergic reactions to any ingredients of the COVID-19 vaccines are urged not to get the vaccine. And they're only the group of people for which the CDC has issued the recommendations on. Others who have had allergic reactions of any kind in the past, not related to vaccines in general, are urged to still get the vaccine, but with the proper safeguards in place, like an on-site monitoring by medical professional who has access to emergency drugs like epinephrine or antihistamines. So these recommendations come after a handful of allergic reactions have been reported as the vaccine rolled out in UK and US. So patients were treated and are all doing fine, they're saying. Right now, there is no reason to avoid getting the vaccine just because you have history of allergies, though it's worth bringing up previous reactions to vaccines to your doctor before getting them. So overall, right now, CDC says there is no reason again to believe that either COVID-19 vaccine would be unsafe, as in cause severe harm for the large majority of people, including any groups who were left out of clinical trials. Rather, researchers and scientists haven't collected enough data yet to be able to issue a sweeping statement one way or the other. If you have any questions about it, or if, when you do have, when you should have the COVID-19 vaccine, it is always best to speak to your doctor for any possible concerns you may have. So that's it, folks. Any information that you got from this point on is current. You know, as you all know, that we are still in the process of getting more information and more data that is coming in. So it's possible that some of the data have changed. So you want to keep yourself abreast and be updated with all the news and information, and you can get that all right here at Chicago ViaTimes, Chicago Reports TV. So this is Melody Dizon again, your Health Matters host. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Maria Pappas, Cook County Treasurer. Property taxes are due March 2nd, but there's no late fee through May 3rd. Go to cookcountytreasurer.com, put in your street address to pay online, search for $76 million in double payments and $46 million in missing exemptions. See if your property is on the tax sale delinquency list. Put in your address at cookcountytreasurer.com.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to birthday celebration this week. We wish everybody happy birthday to the following special people: Ran Vergara, Venus Pantaleon, Jericho Dizon, Michelle Rosero Gamarson, Gloria Colongi, and lastly, Dindo Basilgo. Happy birthday, everyone. And don't forget to pick up a copy of your favorite ViaTimes magazine, February issue from our Chicago Land Distributing Center. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again next week. Mabuhay!